Good evening. It's approximately 7 o'clock. I'm Richard Burke, and I declare to order this meeting of the Tualatin Valley Water District Board of Commissioners. All commissioners are present, and so the first item on the agenda tonight is our reports by the Chief Executive Officer and management staff. However, Paul Matthews will be substituting tonight for our CEO, Mark Knudsen, who is traveling. So, Paul.
Good evening, President Burke, commissioners. We'll start as we usually do with our safety moment presented by our Manager of Customer Service, Andrew Carlstrom.
Good evening, President Burke, commissioners. Tonight's safety moment is on the subject of earthquakes. And before I go to the next slide, if you didn't know, yesterday at 5:04 p.m. was the 28th anniversary of the Loma Prieta earthquake, which struck the San Francisco Bay Area. But as you know, we're also susceptible to earthquakes in our area. And for that reason, I recommend that you participate tomorrow in the Great Shakeout Earthquake Drill. This will occur tomorrow at 10:19. Just think 10:19 on 10:19. And millions of people will be participating worldwide, and they will drop, cover, and hold on. More information, go to shakeout.org. And I've also included in this safety moment a short video. Sorry. On earthquake safety. And a spinning circle.
And yet we all watch it like something's happening.
When the earth shakes, the ground moves, and things start to fall, you'll ask yourself, how prepared or unprepared are you? Have you removed objects from over the bed and over your head? Anchored your possessions securely to the wall. It won't be a pain, and you're not doing it in vain. Are your emergency kits packed? What about your family, your friends? Did they know what to do, how to get in touch, and where to meet? Do you know how to drop, cover, and hold on, covering your head and neck? What if you're outside or in a car? After the shaking stops, look around. Figure out what to do. Stay away from damaged areas. Turn on a radio. Reach out for help. And if you're trapped, do not move about. Stay calm. Only shout as a last resort. Once everything and everyone is safe, get prepared. An aftershock could be on its way. So before the earth shakes, the ground moves, and things start to fall, get prepared. Make a plan. Practice what you know, because an earthquake can happen anytime, anywhere. You never know. America's Prepare-a-thon. Be smart. Take part. Prepare.
I can relate to that because the spring break quake, our cat come unglued several minutes before it happened. Early warning.
Well, thank you, Andrew. As you can see, Mark Knudsen, the district CEO, is not available for tonight's meeting. Mark is attending the meeting of the Association of Metropolitan Water Agencies this week, and after that meeting, he'll be traveling to Denver, Colorado to attend the board meeting of the Water Research Foundation. Mr. Knudsen serves as a director on the Water Research Board, and that board's important. It governs the Research Foundation, which provides valuable research to the water industry. I'll be serving as acting capacity for the CEO this week, and Kerry Pack, our chief engineer, will be acting capacity for the CEO next week. I want to give you a quick update on the Willamette Water Supply System Water Treatment Plant land acquisition. You might recall that last month the board authorized the purchase of the property for the future Willamette Water Supply Treatment Plant. I'm happy to report that the district completed its due diligence work and found no issues that would cause us not to follow through with the transaction. Accordingly, the district will have the transaction closed no later than November 3rd and possibly as early as October 25th. This is an extremely important step for the water supply program. Fixing the location of the future treatment plant allows the team to finalize many aspects of the program planning. And in keeping with the district's mission to provide our community with quality water and customer service, Andrew Carlstrom, our Manager of Customer Service, will present the department report this evening. Andrew will be giving an update on the status of the district's online payment system. Andrew?
Great. Well, good evening again. As promised, I'm going to give you an update on our transition to Paymentus. The takeaways are, number one, after almost 4 weeks, we've had significant customer adoption of Paymentus. Customer service staff are supporting customers in this transition, and staff are reporting a positive improvement over the 2015 experience. We're addressing post-go-live issues as they arise, and we're also digging into the what we're calling Phase 2 items. I thought it'd be interesting for you to see some statistics on our rollout. Again, IVR is interactive voice response. So on the left is the Paymentus rollout so far after 26 days, and on the right in the yellow is velocity for the same time frame in 2015. So we've had so far this go around 13,368 payments compared to a little over 10,000 in 2015. And importantly, the registered accounts, we've had, this is as of late morning, a little over 13,000 compared to a little under 8,000 last time. So it's 165% of what we experienced.
What does the IVR stand for?
Interactive voice response. It's the touch-tone phone system. Again, customer support. We're supporting customers in this transition. Overall positive feedback on the Paymentus system. The customer support calls are fewer and also shorter than we experienced 2 years ago. And thankfully, both for customers and for staff, our password-related inquiries have really dropped. I wanted to give you a sample of some of the customer inquiries we're receiving. I didn't know I needed to register with Paymentus. My velocity credentials are not working. I didn't want to re-register, and we understand that. I didn't know my account number. I only want to use paperless billing through Paymentus. I need clarification on when my auto pay pulls and questions on establishing the new password. So a lot of the inquiries are very straightforward, which accounts for the shorter call times for customer service staff. But again, the password reset functionality, those have just dropped off. Last time I gave you an update, I gave you a number of customer quotes. I thought this time it might be interesting for you to see one customer's journey before and after. So this customer wrote in beginning of last November and described frustration that a lot of customers experienced with, again, security and the password functionality, describing it's beyond ridiculous, and they suggested finding a new vendor. Well, we couldn't have agreed more, which is why we conducted the project. This same customer wrote back about 2 weeks ago expressing appreciation, and we appreciate this customer's feedback and also their patience. Again, we're resolving issues as they arise and making corrections. With Paymentus, we've retained our cross-functional project team, which includes Clean Water Services, and we're also digging into the Phase 2 items. These are items that we deferred till after the initial go-live. Number one being the emergency assistance donations functionality. That will be available by the end of this month. And we're also starting the planning for the customer service requests, which will take those requests off of the TVWD website and go through Paymentus. Customer reminders, again, customers can register now with Paymentus. They don't need to wait for their bill. They just need to go to tvwd.org/payonline. And again, we did notify customers, these were former Velocity users, of the date change, the go-live date, and the changes via a letter. And we are reminding them in a phased approach instead of doing all at once back in September. And we're sending those reminders out with the cycle bills. So lastly, and I've said this on a number of occasions to our customers, you spoke and we listened and replaced the system. This is really for you, and we appreciate your patience as we continue. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Andrew.
Adjourning. Any questions?
Well, not a question, but an observation, which is I did this morning. And it was pretty straightforward. And I decided I would opt for paperless billing because I couldn't stand getting that envelope that I never needed. But so we'll see on the 30th, which is when my bill's due, if it actually works. But it was pretty straightforward. And I'm not one to follow directions very well. So I just, sort of jumped into it, and it seemed to work well. And I appreciate, how much work went in to making it logical. Anyway, I appreciate that.
So I want to reassure Commissioner Doan that it will work. I registered last month and for the first time signed up for paperless because it was so simple on Paymentus. And just today, I got a very nice email from Paymentus letting me know that my bill was ready to view. So, with a link, and there you go.
Okay, I think that's it. It's been quite a journey. It looks like it's pretty much done, and you've done an excellent job. And we're all grateful to staff for all of the good advice, research, and implementation that they've accomplished. Thank you, and I'm sure our ratepayers thank you as well.
Thank you, Andrew. So on behalf of our CEO, this concludes our report of the CEO and management staff. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Matthews. Next item is Commissioner Communications, reports of meetings attended. And I guess for no particular reason tonight, I will start with Commissioner Bagnall.
Is it that alphabet thing? Well, I had a few meetings. On the 3rd of October, I attended the board work session where we talked about property acquisition and other district business. On the 10th of October, I had the agenda planning meeting with Commissioner Burke and with the CEO Knudsen. And on the 12th, I had a teleconference with our auditors and am pleased to report that the audit is going very well and they did not raise any issues that the board needs to be concerned about. So that's always good news. And then, of course, tonight's meeting.
Commissioner Schmidt.
On the 2nd of October, I attended the Willamette Water Supply Engineering and Planning meeting, in which we got basically just an upfront status report on what's happening and how well it's going and what's going on. On the 3rd, I also attended the Walton Valley Water District Board Water Supply Committee and work session. And on the 4th, I attended the Grabhorn Reservoir Open House. The 13th, Commissioner Doan and myself attended the Joint Water Commission and with updates on the treatment plant expansion and tonight's regular board.
Thank you. Commissioner Doan.
Well, I attended all the meetings. I attended all the meetings that Dick Schmidt did, plus the Aloha Business Association meeting on the 12th. I think the most important thing about the Joint Water Commission is that we have authorized the second stage of the treatment plant expansion. So we're now doing the physical construction of the seismic upgrades for the plant and increasing the capacity from 75 MGD to 85 MGD. And somewhere along the line, we have managed to save a couple of $1 million over what we projected. And hands off to our people who are on the Technical Advisory Committee and to the Joint Water Commission staff.
Thank you, Commissioner Doan. Commissioner Duggan.
I attended the board workshop we had on October 3rd where we talked about the district initiatives and had an executive session. On the 4th of October, Wednesday, I attended the Regional Water Providers Consortium board meeting, which is our regular third of the year board meeting where we talk about work plan and budget concepts. And we also talked about a strategic plan update that a consultant has been hired to update the strategic plan for the next 5 years. There were a lot of new board members attending that night, as well as a few new staff people. So we had nice discussion on trying to focus the mission of the consortium and what our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are. And then on the 10th of October, I had a meeting with Mark Knudsen where we talked about board issues and had a discussion on district initiatives, and tonight's meeting.
Excellent, thank you. I have 4 meetings to report. Tonight's board meeting, of course, and yesterday I attended a meeting of the West Side Economic Alliance where a presentation was made by Congressman Kurt Schrader. I was able to ask the congressman a question specifically about tax-free municipal bonds as part of the expected tax reform package. This district sent letters to all of our congressional delegation, which I signed, asking our delegation to do what they can to preserve the ability of people to invest in tax-free municipal bonds as a way to promote infrastructure, and Congressman Schrader said that he was, in fact, in favor of preserving that. So that's one. And so anyway,
Woohoo.
Yeah, that's right. I was there, so I also attended the agenda breakfast with Paul Matthews, Mark Knudsen, and Commissioner Bagnall here. And then, of course, I also attended the workshop on the 3rd of October. Those are my meetings. Are there any topics to be raised by commissioners this month?
Well, I just wanted to make one comment. I hope that we have an opportunity to discuss with our Senator Ron Wyden the importance of tax-free municipal bonding investments in infrastructure, where it's a win-win for both the public and the people, the public that pays for infrastructure, yeah, and for the people that invest in them, in having a relatively secure investment option.
Mm-hmm. I hope we can reach him too. We might have to go to New York, but I hope we can reach him too. And so those are the meetings. Are there any other commissioner topics to be raised? Seeing none, normally we would go to public comment, but I don't have any blue sheets in front of me, and I don't think there is public comment tonight. So we will go to the consent agenda. These are items considered to be routine and may be enacted in one motion. Without separate discussion, members can request that they be removed by motion for discussion and separate action. So on the consent agenda tonight, we have the minutes of the September 20th, 2017 regular meeting and the minutes of the October 3rd, 2017 work session. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Consent agenda is adopted. So we will now go to the business agenda, where we will consider adopting resolution number 30-17, approving a bid form and sales agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for a property for the Willamette Water Supply System.
So Dave Kraska, the Director of the Water Supply Program, will introduce this topic.
Thank you. And since this is a real estate issue for the Willamette Water Supply Program, I'm going to introduce Todd Perriman, who is the Program Delivery and Real Estate Manager.
Thanks, Dave. President Burke, Commissioners. Our proposed property purchase for the Willamette Water Supply Program is a parcel that's currently owned by the Oregon Department of Transportation. Their rail division, this particular parcel is located on the north of the future Willamette Water Supply System here on our PLW 2.0 project near Cherry Lane in the city of Hillsborough. This particular parcel is on the preferred alignment for this project. It's a long, narrow parcel. It's approximately 1,700 feet long and about 100 feet wide. It was previously a rail corridor, which is no longer in use, and the tracks have been removed, and there's been some fill placed on the property. The property has been appraised by an independent appraiser hired by Willamette Water Supply Program through our consultant HDR and valued at $94,000. That appraisal has been reviewed by ODOT, and they concur with those findings, and they are currently offering the property to the City of Hillsborough and TVWD through our current IGA for Willamette Water Supply Program in an as-is basis for this $94,000. This is a high-level overview of the parcel. As I mentioned, it's on either side of Cherry Lane in Hillsborough. There's a number of advantages to this parcel in that it allows us to put this 1,700 feet of pipe off of Cornelius Pass Road with minimal traffic impacts. And again, it's fairly close to greenfield construction, so there's some good benefits for us there. So our proposed next steps is following approval is to have TVWD and Hillsborough sign the documents. We hope to have that completed by October 25th. ODOT Rail will then order the conveyance documents, which we expect to have shortly after November 15th or in that general time frame. And then we'll look to execute the documents, close the transaction, and record the property in mid-December of this year, and then take possession at that time. So with that brief presentation, staff recommends considering a resolution 3017.
Okay. Thank you very much for the staff report. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Well, I walked this last Friday, and it's a very interesting piece of property in that there's lots of activity in it that the people on this who live on each side have basically extended their yards. And it's cool, there's swing sets and things like that. And I suspect that we will be able to take all that into account and not disrupt it. But, I think it's an opportunity for us to be really cool neighbors to these people and perhaps give them some assurance that we won't go in there and demolish their swing sets and tree houses and things. Anyway, but I thought this is really ingenious.
Well, maybe just a few.
Okay. It's really ingenious. I mean, it's so much cheaper to build pipe basically on undisturbed ground than it is to go up, Cornelius Pass Road, which, is a mess. And I want to honor our staff that was able to come up with this thing. And I also wonder, at what point in time was Hillsborough a Burlington Northern rail hub? Since there's so much land that the state has that used to be Burlington Northern, I have a hard time conceiving of it. But anyway, it's a good thing.
Thank you, Commissioner Doan. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, do I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 3017, approving a bid form and sales agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for a property to the Willamette River Supply System?
So moved.
Commissioner Doan moves. Is there a second?
And I will second.
Commissioner Bagnell seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, it is adopted. And with no additional business in front of the board, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you and have a good evening. And happy Halloween.